Alright, it is 9:03 AM. We will begin this special meeting of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners. This meeting will function as our regular meeting since we had to reschedule that due to other events going on. First, if I could ask everyone to please turn off or at least silence your cell phones, that would be great. Then we will open with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could ask for an approval of the agenda, motion for that.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
To vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Community information items. We had the community engagement session with the One Community Project last night. That went very well. A lot of surprising survey results from the room in there last night. Pretty cool stuff.
What was most surprising to you?
Sitting in this room and knowing that the deferred maintenance boogeyman is always so high on my prioritization list.
Is not available. Record your message at the tone.
Somebody is not muted. If we could get, there we go. Alright. Yeah, I'm always, with hours in the saddle now and seeing how far behind we are on a lot of deferred maintenance stuff, that's always so high in my brain of like what we need to catch up on. Mm-hmm. And then the view from outside the building is always so much different than the view from inside. So it catches me off guard when I see items that I am forgetting are so important to the community that I'm not seeing in front of my face every day. So it's not like I disagree, it's just that it's nice to reconnect with groups in the community and hear what their priorities are and remember that from when I was not sitting in this seat.
I meant, like, was there a specific topic or like a specific question that you were like, oh, that's interesting, I wouldn't have expected that?
Yes.
Do you mind sharing? I'm just curious, Andy. I love hearing your perspective on that event last night.
Well, again, it has to do with sitting in here and looking at what we have to work with and what we have to accomplish, the mountain of things.
Yeah.
How many boxes there are to check and how little ink we have left in the pen.
Yeah.
And understanding that everybody, I'm not gonna get into specifics because it's, it gets like, people take these really personally, they're passion projects, and everything is important.
Yeah.
But it's different coming from these seats of realizing what our resources are and what we can do versus what we can't. And I don't want anyone to take those things personally, instead of being able to have those times when we can discuss, hey, we do wanna do this, but we can't right now.
Yeah.
So it's, it's good to be reminded that these things are important to the community, and then we're gonna have to balance with communication, letting people know, we wanna do this, but we can't right now, we're gonna have to later.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
that's the gist of it, but I don't wanna really dive into the details of it, especially for time's sake, because we've got a lot going on today, so.
Okay, we also have hours to do this, so I don't feel rushed. It's rare that we can actually have conversations about policy, about what's going on in the community, like because of open meeting laws, and so I really see this as like sacred time when we can actually talk about things.
Yeah.
Because we can't talk about them otherwise, and that's why I was asking, so
Yeah.
no pressure to
Appreciate
share it, I was just trying to take advantage of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It boils down to how big of a lift we have as a county to help this community get all the things they want across the finish line.
Yeah,
The reality of what are we gonna be able to do?
and what is our role?
Yeah.
Cause the One Community Project isn't just tasking the county with doing things, It is surveying what the county wants and needs, and then establishing, okay, well, what role does the county have? What role do our nonprofits have? What holes do we have in our resources and services that we need to create other entities or other people need to take up the yoke to accomplish? So, yeah, I really appreciate the conversations,
Yeah.
yeah.
We also just finished another 3-day conference, with all 64 counties in Colorado, reconnecting with other commissioners, other, officials and administration across the state. It's always super valuable, because there's a lot of things that when you wanna accomplish stuff, it's not as much what you know, it's who you know, in the state. So, if we've been absent for the last few days, that's where we've been at. And those are always extremely valuable for Lake County. That's all I have.
I don't have anything today, thanks.
I found CCI really, oh my God, I learned so much at our conferences. Especially as 3 freshman commissioners, there is so much to know. There were 2 things that really stuck in my head throughout all my notes, and one of them was the HUTF funding. That was wild. So for anybody who doesn't know, we receive HUTF funding, Highway User Transportation Fund, Tax Fund.
Where you use tax fund.
Tax Fund.
Yeah.
And there are many state equations that determine who gets what money. But that Highway Users Tax Fund comes from our federal government, and they have their own equation about which state gets how much money. And the federal equation is based off of population numbers from 2001. So we have a tremendous amount more people, and it almost feels like throwing a bucket of water on a wildfire to like discuss, what is our allocation from the state, when we have lost, since the 2001 equation, $200 billion worth of highway user tax funds have not come to our state based on our increase of population. So if that equation had been a floating equation that changes year by year, or even census by census, based on how many people are in our state, we would have received $200 billion more in our, to support our roads. So that was just such an important little understanding for me when we talk about helping our roads and fixing our roads, and why are Colorado roads so shitty, and why are Lake County roads so, crappy. I'm like, oh, that's not a lever I can pull. That's not a lever I can pull, that's not a lever our state representatives can pull. That's something that we have to do real advocacy at the federal level if we wanna change it. And that helped me so much, just realize what power I have.
Well, it was wild to hear what the governor had to say about that too, and the counties were like, hey, help us. Why, the question is posed to him, what are you doing
Yeah,
to change this? And he's like, well, there's gonna be pushback from states that have lost population, and, we're like, help us please, like, this is a lot. So it was.
that's also not the governor's role though, is what he's saying. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, that is our state representative's role. So that's Brittany Pedersen, that's Michael Bennett, and that's Hickenlooper. So we can keep asking the governor, but he
Yeah.
has no power in that. So we gotta be asking the right people to be changing the levers that they're in control of. And then the other thing that really struck me was, it's gonna sound really wonky, but the state, a huge amount of the state's budget goes towards Medicaid. And based on Tabor, our Tabor cap, we can only increase our Medicaid allocation by 4.4% every year. And Medicaid grows on an average of 8.8% every year. So we have to supplement our Medicaid from the state general funds. Have to. And, like, for instance, last year, our Medicaid allocation increased by 11%. So that's almost 3 times as much as what we're allowed to send money towards for, our Tabor cap. The rest of it has to be reimbursed to, taxpayers, and so that hole has to be backfilled by the general fund. Our state Medicaid payment is $20 billion. So that's almost half of the state's budget. Our state's budget is $44 billion. Of those 20 billion, 10 billion, so half of that 20 billion, 10 billion is spent on long-term care. And there are only 100,000 people in Colorado who receive long-term care. So we are spending, by law, $10 billion on 100,000 people who need long-term care, and those are people with disabilities and are elderly. And the cost for that long-term care increases every year, for a couple of reasons, not only because they are some of our lowest paid workers in our communities, but also because the state, when they decided that people could do in-home long-term care, they also made sure that the regulations that dictate how long-term care can be provided are really in line with how facilities have to provide long-term care. And that is overly burdensome. So a lot of the funding has to go towards administration and regulation. Not all of the funding, but it's something that people are looking to clean up, because we can't, like I said 2 weeks ago, by 2040, we will be a state that is only funding Medicaid and education by law, because we don't have money to pay for anything else. So I just thought it was really important that we all understand that some of our most vulnerable populations cost the most money and they deserve care. And also we have policies that keep us from being able to spread that care around to the people who need it, who aren't receiving care. So $10 billion go to 100,000 people. And also our people who have long-term care needs, that population is increasing rapidly. So it's also a thing that we cannot stop funding it, because there will be more and more people who need it. So not only with the cost, but also with the amount of folks who need it, our Medicaid costs will just continue to increase. And I'm just really grateful for all the people who are working on that, because that's a wonky thing to wrap your arms around and try to fix. So those were 2 of the main things that really stuck out to me. It was 3 days straight of learning so much and listening to people who have been doing this for years. And yeah, I felt CCI was really powerful this year. I'm glad I understood at least 10% of what we were talking about this year instead of the 0% last year. So those are my community updates.
Alright, well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Meeting recordings are available. A reminder that all regular meetings and work sessions are recorded and available on the Lake County Government YouTube channel with transcribed and indexed videos. The recordings can be watched at a time that's best for you. Subscribe to stay informed on county decisions. Public comment. Public comment is available for residents wishing to speak on an agenda item or another issue not on the agenda. To make public comment, residents may request to speak by raising your hand in person, using the raise hand feature in Zoom, and or sending a message in chat. We will open up public comment to the people in the room first. If there's anyone who wishes to make public comment, please raise your hand. Go ahead, Pete.
Just a question, will there be an opportunity to comment on the individual commercial recreation permits when they come up, or is this it?
Is that a hearing, Matt?
It's not a hearing, this is who you're talking about.
Yeah, I would get any comments for permitting, bring those up now.
for anything today?
Yep, anything on the agenda.
Okay, I just have I looked through all of the commercial permit recreation applications and the staff reports. Thank you, Sandra, for providing those. Providing the packets is great, and Sandra's on top of that, so kudos to her. I did notice that, that there are three applications, 2 are in the city, 1 is in the county. The 2 applications in the city, each of those has a business license. The one in the county, both the staff report, or in the staff report, it says that, because it's in the county, no business license, Leadville business license is required. But then it's silent on whether a commercial, conditional use permit is required. And it appears that it should be unless they've already received one in the past. But the staff report doesn't address that, and so it seems like it's a hole. So I guess my question is, when the topic comes up, is a base of operations in the county required to have a conditional use permit?
That's a good question, Pete. I always appreciate your insight on these things and your eye for detail. Is that something that staff would like to discuss later, or would you like to address that now? I will give you the option on that.
I think that most of the time to talk about that when you present applications, or I'll defer to Melissa actually to address it. I think the simple answer is, this is step 1 of a 2-part process. We wanted to make sure it finally snowed, that we get our operators within a permit to use the roadway. So we do have a CUP process that will apply as well.
Okay. All right, and if you want further elaboration on that, we can follow up and see what other kind of
Yeah,
details.
it just seems that the land development code and the ordinance that controls this, requires that the applicant has to have either a business license or a conditional use permit to have a complete application for a commercial recreation permit, and it seems like that's not the case.
Okay. Great, thanks, Pete. Anyone else in the room? Yeah, go ahead in the back, state your name and.
Hi, Paul Terranova, Twin Lakes. I have a comment on item number 2 in the agenda.
Wait, just a second.
Yeah.
It's, public hearing is closed on the Box Creek
Okay,
line, sorry. So we hold a joint public hearing. That's why the commissioners attend meetings with the planning commission.
Okay.
Cause those are joint public hearings, and then the public hearings get closed by the planning commission. So then they deliberate, and then we deliberate. So the public hearing is closed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry I didn't elaborate on that. In certain instances, public comment will not be accepted, such as on public hearing items. So it's just the way the rules are run by the state. We have to be careful how we handle certain subjects, and that's happens to be one of them.
all right, thank you. We did get some letters into the editor today for the Herald, so
Thanks.
I know there's 3 of those that are in there.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, anyone else in the room? And then anyone else online, it will be the same situation. Agenda item number 2 is something we can't take public comment on right now because of the previous hearings that have already accepted public comment. And I do not see any hands raised online. Nothing in the chat either. All right. Moving on, we will begin with agenda item number 1. Discussion and consideration of resolution 2025-32, a resolution amending the Lake County Land Development Code regarding expedited review for affordable housing projects. This will be led by Ann Schneider, Community Planning and Development Director. Hi, Ann.
Thank you. So I'm here today to present a statement of motion from the joint public hearing that was held on November 10th. So at its November 10th, 2025 joint public hearing, the Lake County Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval The motion was made by Steve Stevens and seconded by Brian Hill with a roll call vote of all 4 members present in favor. In lieu of the Planning Commission recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners for file 2534, an amendment to the Lake County Land Development Code adding expedited affordable housing review to sections 3.1.14 processing cycles, 3.3.3 building permits applications and processing requirements, 3.6E conditional use permit procedures for review and action, 3.15.3 site plan review and action, 3.21.4 zoning variance review and action, and adding affordable housing unit to chapter 9 definitions, and further finding that A, the proposed amendment is in substantial compliance with the express purposes, intents, goals, and policies of the Lake County Comprehensive Plan and any auxiliary county acknowledged or adopted documents pertaining to natural resource protection, affordable housing, infrastructure management, or any area-specific community plans, and of the Land Development Code. And B, the proposed amendment is necessary because of changing social values, new planning concepts, or other social or economic conditions. And C, that the proposed amendment will promote the public health, safety, and general welfare. The Planning Commission made these findings based on the evidence provided in the staff report dated November 10th, 2025. I know that you all attended the public hearing, so I'm happy to take any questions, but there really wasn't much deliberation on this. The Planning Commission just moved forward with the motion.
I have no questions.
I don't have any questions, but I just wanna say, I learned so much about planning and zoning at CCI as well. And I think it was SB 24.122 that established these, like, some of the regulations around our comp plans, our housing needs assessments, housing action plans. And this expedited review process is is part of that piece of legislation, and establishing what is affordable housing. I feel like is so important in our community, especially as more development with bigger projects are coming to us. It allows us to actually, developers can say they're gonna do affordable housing, and by doing this, it actually establishes what that is. As opposed to in the past, developers being able to say like, yeah, we'll do 50% affordable housing, and then there is no definition of what that is. And so developers can make that whatever they think it is, as opposed to what we need it to be. And so I know we all know that, I just wanna say it for the record, and how I'm now understanding how it's all piecing together, so thank you, and I have no question.
Cool, so Ann, is this resolution 2025-34?
32.
32, okay. I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-32, a resolution amending the Lake County Development Code regarding expedited review for affordable housing projects.
Seconded.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alright,
Thank you, Ann.
thank you, Ann. Agenda item number 2, discussion and consideration of resolution 2025-33, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners and Planning Commission of Lake County, Colorado, adopting written findings of fact pursuant to the Lake County Land Development Code and denying the application for a conditional use permit for file number 24-3, Box Creek gravel mining. This will be led by Melissa Kendrick, CPD Deputy Director.
Good morning.
Morning, Melissa.
We're making plans here, so I'm gonna read it from here.
I would go ahead and read the findings into the record,
Yeah.
If you want,
or just reference them.
yeah, I mean, they're part of the record when they pass the resolution, but certainly read them and, maybe explain what the planning commission really marked out on that, so. Make a request to the board of what they wanna do, whether they wanna modify them.
We're doing this slightly differently than we've done it before, so we're kind of figuring this out. So. Yep. thank you for that. As you know, because you were present, we had a public hearing on November 10th. This was a public hearing, it took us a while to get to it, there were 6 continuations from when we started. So that deliberation involved the staff report that was written on April 28th and the staff report that was written on November 10th. And based upon that, the planning commission made a recommendation of denial of this application. And so because of that, we have a resolution, the resolution 25-33, and there's a list of findings of fact that are involved in that. And I guess I have a choice about reading this to you. You have it in your packet. So what would be your preference this morning?
I don't need a read.
I don't need to read.
Yeah, so I won't read this to you. This is a really important action that was taken, a very difficult one. We had 4 hours of public testimony on April 28th, and like 3 hours of testimony on November 10th. So there was a great deal of deliberation that went into the decision that the planning commission made. These findings of fact reflect probably 2 really important issues, which were part of the continuation, which was that the impact of the noise that is generated potentially from this application was not mitigated well enough to really meet issues of health, safety, and welfare for the community, and the intensity of the use that would be added with the gravel mining wasn't also adequately mitigated. I think the second part of that had to do with traffic safety, which is the intersection of County Road 10 and 24. There's a great deal of analysis that got done. There was a traffic study as well as a safety analysis. And we actually had testimony from CDOT at that hearing. So there was enough question about the intersection not being adequately designed to address the fact that these heavily weighted trucks are gonna be pulling out onto 24 and turning left and going uphill. And that was just sort of the fundamental crux of the matter. And while there was a requirement with the access permit to create a decel lane to turn right onto County Road 10, there was no other acceleration lanes proposed. And so with that, I think the planning commission felt there was not adequate mitigation of traffic and safety impacts for that intersection. So I think that's effectively how the decision was made to deny the application, which is what comes to you this morning. So I can answer any questions. Anything I should add to that?
That's comprehensive.
Good job, Melissa, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Motion to approve?
Yes, I move to approve resolution 2025-33, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners and Planning Commission of Lake County, Colorado, adopting written findings of fact pursuant to the Lake County Land Development Code and denying the application for a conditional use permit for file number 24-03, the Box Creek gravel mining.
I'll second the motion.
To a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright. Thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Ann.
Yeah, great job.
Moving on, agenda item number 3. Discussion and consideration of a commercial recreation permit for the High Country Tours for winter snowmobile tour operations. This will be led by Melissa Kendrick, CPD Deputy Director.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're gonna hear a little bit from me today. So, you have 3 commercial recreation permits in front of you today. As you read, and you probably know now, that we had an ordinance passed 2401 in 24. And that ordinance requires a permit to be issued to to those recreational operators who want to use our county roads. So this morning, it's really about the use of our county roads. And we recognize that there's conditional use permits required. This has been a really heavy lift for us and for our operators, because Well, it all sounds simple, it isn't in the details, and so the conditional use permits require permission from the private landowners for use of some routes that's proving to be much more difficult than anybody thought probably it would be. And so while that is underway and we're working with our operators around those issues, and we will bring those CUPs to you, this morning we wanted to make sure that we got a permit established. So first year, it's not probably gonna be perfect, but it's a place to start. And, you know, I believe we're tying things up the best that we can and the way that it should be. So the first one is our high country tours. Tim Vermeer, I think Tim might be on in the room. Good morning. Good morning. I also have Ross Musick on the screen as well, and he's gonna need to leave shortly. So do you have 5 minutes, Ross, right now?
I was able to move that other meeting later, so I only have to sneak away at 11 for 30 minutes, and then I can come back after that and stay through lunch if we need.
Okay, good. So I'm not gonna rush through that part of it. So, this first commercial permit, is for High Country Tours, and they are an operator here in town. All the operators, we have 4 of them, 3 of them are here today, have previously, they've been in business here, and Tim is the longest for like 20 years. So, their proposed operations, as you read, include tours, these are winter snowmobile tours, and they will operate like 4 times a day. They have 7 snowmobiles and 1 guide, just to give you sort of a scope of that, and Tim can address it. They do some grooming, they operate all day, 8 to 6, 7 days a week. They have 10 to 20 employees as part of their operations. And they have a hazard mitigation plan as required, an emergency management plan, and also the sanitation issues. So they have portalets for their guests and staff. It seems like all uses in the county eventually end up talking about human waste. So their route operations are for county roads 1, 2, 3, and 38. So those are the roads that they are wanting to operate in, and that's what the permit is for. They address all of the issues that are required as part of the ordinance, and so, you know, again, complying with all of our traffic codes and requirements that are part of using our roadways have been addressed. Again, these are operators. This is an operator that has a track record here. However, we haven't had opportunity until now to kind of glean some ongoing information. So part of the conditions of approval for this is that with any renewal of a permit, an annual record of incidents and emergency responses will be part of that, so that we start to collect that on an annual basis. So we have a better idea of what's going on a yearly basis. So again, conditions of approval I'm gonna address for you, which are that they maintain this permit in good standing, that there's a cost agreement that is part of the permit. And the cost agreement is something that we are requiring. And part of the reason Ross Musick is here is because the grooming of the east side, which is where they're operating, has been an issue in terms of the consistency of the grooming. And so when we started to implement this ordinance, what we learned was there isn't consistency, and that different operators have been grooming in different ways, and that hasn't been successful in creating the kinds of trails that are safe and reliable. And so what we have done is establish a contract with the Colorado Snowmobile Association and with Ross specifically to provide the grooming on the east side. We have 2 operators, High Country Tours is one of them, that's gonna contribute with $6,000 towards that grooming for the season. Tim Vermeer's permit includes his ability to do some grooming himself, and that's through Public Works. So he, they come to an agreement on how that grooming will occur, so we make sure the standard is maintained for those trails. And so that cost agreement, has been signed by Tim, and, it will be the first year that we're really implementing this program. Again, it's something that we're going to try. At the end of the season, we'll have more information about how it goes. And I wanted Tim or Ross to be able to speak to that, because I think there are questions about what happened last year, what's gonna happen this year. And I'm realizing that I had brought something to hand out to the board. This is the list of what Ross is gonna provide as part of his grooming. And I wanted, to turn it over to Ross to really address what, a little bit about his background, what, he's planning on doing for this season. So Ross, are you ready for that?
Yeah, sure. Ross Music. Just real quick in that first paragraph, again, it just states that I'm a District 6 rep for Colorado Snowmobiling Association. I'm currently the secretary for the High Riders Snowmobiling Club. I help with Avon, Buena Vista, Salida, Leadville, other clubs. The grooming chair for CSA, so I put on like a grooming clinic in Grand Junction with our two vendors, Piston Bowling, pre-knot every year. So we go in for training, learn how to be safe and whatnot. I helped put that on. I started grooming over 10 years ago for the snowmobiling club out of Summit, and had started their program and ran their program. And I've been with the High Rider Snowmobiling Club for 7 years in Lake County, helped running their program. I used to reside on the Val Pass Task Force, managing their grooming operations with the National Forest and a paid vendor up there. The High Rider Snowmobiling Club has been grooming in Lake County probably for like 40 years, no cost to the community. We groom around Turquoise Lake, St. Kevin's, and the mining district, which is basically funded from Colorado Snowmobiling Association and Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Our club is the only, I guess you could say, entity to kind of basically bring in that money to the community, which we've been happy to do. We're required to groom for motorized and non. Our funding is strongly based upon loops, not down and outs, to make it cost effective. So where we're at is there's been a huge influx of rental companies, usage, lack of snow, and basically snowcats are way more expensive. CSA, CPW used to get snowcats from skiing resorts, but now they're basically shipped out elsewhere, basically because the snowcats are so expensive for Tier 4 emissions. What we is proposed basically, like, for the funding for us to stay intact is by out of Grand Lake. Those county commissioners came up with a plan just like this with that snowmobiling club. And so there's two options, which is either the rental company shows their books and they pay a fee, just like a national forest usage, and that goes into the pot to the county, and then the county gives it to the club, or it's just a set permitting fee. They also did so that way they can leverage their money together to win grants, and that's basically what we're doing as well. For us, we're just looking for basically one club. They wanted like one group doing all their grooming, so there's accountability, consistency, and safety for everyone. So we're kind of modeled that as well, where we don't groom during the day. We use the right equipment. We have great operators that are local experience. So one operator was a trainer at Val Resorts for over 10 years. We have another operator from Val Resorts, and they specifically mostly do the mining district. I have another operator from Breckenridge who still grooms for Breckenridge Ski Resorts. That's been a volunteer. So we're pretty well qualified. Basically, we're just this money that we collect is going to be solely for capital grants to purchase a used cat in the future, which will be just used for Lake County. The things that our grants are based upon is urgency and need, the benefits and leverage. So at some point down the road, we may ask for a letter of support and to show our partnership to be successful with this funding. There's no guarantee that, 12 grants are usually submitted, only half are ever approved. And there's clubs that bring in $100,000 cash to be competitive, and our club just isn't capable of doing that. So that's kind of like where we're at. At the bottom of that letter, I kind of typed up, it's basically the same as what we did last year. What cat we're using is a 12-way blade with an appropriate tiller. We have a spare snow cat, which we brought over, 3 times last year. That's where we're at. We just have a little older equipment. We have to share. We have 3 snow cats in the county. I already went over the operators. It looks like we're not going to be able to start grooming on December 1st as we hope. There's no guarantee how late we can groom in a year. And there's a lot of details in there. What our goal is, the minimum is once a week. If there's snow allows and there's the need for the usage, we'll groom twice a week. The mining district is an extremely difficult place to groom compared to anywhere else I'm aware of. There's just not a lot of trees. It's not an asphalt, and there's a lot of rocks. And then the thing that really is hard to kind of convey to people all the time is really it's the lows at night that develop our product. So after we groom and it gets cold and we have new snow, it sits up like asphalt and it lasts a long time. And so if we don't have good, consistent lows, it's really hard to make a great product. So I really like to work with, the county. We have great relationships. I'm very happy to work with the 3 entities that want to that utilize that area. And I really support this. And I think this is a great way to leverage our resources. And, I think we've been working on this a really long time. We're like at the 5-yard line, and I'd like to see this go through. I'd like to see everybody to get their permits, and then it's kind of like a living document where we can always just improve going forward. And then that's basically it. We just don't really come around asking for a lot of money, or very often. I don't think we actually ever have, and we cover our own insurance and everything else, and our own mechanics and our own power and all that, and we try to spend our money locally. So we go to Acorn for fuel and fluids. We use local resources. We don't use like anybody out of state or anything like that. So that's my little spiel. And I guess for the first permit with Tim Vermeer, what's unique there is he has a section of trail that our snowcat can't get down to his trailhead, his base of operations. And so and his equipment isn't quite as big as ours. So we've never had an issue with him grooming, and we couldn't get to him anyway. So I think this one-off is appropriate, and he's been doing it a long time. And I think what he'll be doing is probably fine, and look forward to working with him in the future. So thanks for your time, everybody.
Thank you, Ross.
Yeah, so I think that kind of concludes my presentation and the conditions of approval for this permit. So we're recommending that you approve the application. So I don't know if you want to hear from Michael at all. Do you have any comments you want to make about that?
Not on this one, I don't.
Okay.
I know that we've had, good luck in operations with, Ross and Pat.
This is kind of a combination of different departments. Duncan, do you have anything that you want to add? Yeah, okay. I think that concludes my presentation.
Well, sounds good. So you all know I love the word grooming, and it really benefits not just the snowmobile club, but all the skiers, the dog walkers, people that want to ride their bikes around the lake and stuff. So I think it's great you guys all got together, and I'm all for it. So we're just gonna approve these one at a time. Right now, we're looking, I'll make a motion to approve a commercial recreation permit on the condition set forth by staff for High Country Tours for winter snowmobile operations.
Second.
To a vote?
Can we discuss?
Is there discussion we would like to have before a vote?
Yeah, just because this is the first one, so we can just get it tidy. On the actual permit condition number 3, it says the applicant shall furnish to CPD written permission to utilize any public bathrooms. Okay, great. Where is the other section of our ordinance? We have a permit and then we have a CUP, correct? Is there, what about a condition to get your CUP by the next year? Or would we just be like, okay, well, when somebody comes back up for the permit, if they still haven't gotten their CUP, is that when we would be like, well, why would we approve another permit if you don't have a CUP? Is that the more appropriate place to do it?
Great point. We could probably do it either way. If you wanna add a condition that a CUP is required, prior to issuance of the next permit.
I guess I'm just wondering, isn't it already required? So like, wouldn't that already be a condition of the permit?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
As was pointed out, it's part of this, and we separated them in order to move this portion forward.
right,
So that's why I say I think it would go either way. If you
okay,
feel more comfortable having that in writing, we can do that, or it will be what's required of them.
or just next year when it comes up again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would mention that Mr. Vermeer has submitted an application for CUP, and we've been working through just the details associated with it, so it is a work in progress.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, Tim, I don't mean this to be about you. I mean this to be about the whole process, because the ordinance was passed by a previous board and we're the ones who are implementing it with staff. So this isn't actually about you, this is just about me understanding our process.
I understand.
Okay, great, thank you. What do you guys think? Is this something that we write in as a condition, since it is a condition?
I would be for just moving it forward, knowing that next year it'll be a condition and that staff is working on it, just so we don't further complicate this.
I like the idea of what Ross said, that this is a living document, and we do know there's changes that will need to be addressed as we move forward. And yeah, I kinda agree with Matt that, moving at the blazing speed of local government, we're already in December, and I wanna see as minimal hurdles as possible in the now.
Okay, I think that by making it a condition that that you need to have your CUP, you need to be in the process or getting your CUP for 2027. That is what, I don't think that actually stops anything. It just puts it in writing that like, hey, we have separated these two things, but under ordinance, they are together, and we're acknowledging that. And so we're saying, you may have a permit, but we are not letting go of the CUP that you also need by but allowing you to have this permit. Do you see what I mean?
I do, there's a lot of things in this process that have appeared on paper to be really simple and easy that have had unintended repercussions that have complicated things. And right now, I feel like we're still in that boat, we've been passed the reins on this ordinance, and was not refined, and there's a lot of room for alteration. So right now, I feel like our bandwidth is maxed, just trying to get things across the finish line for this season with how things already are. So I'm just reluctant to make any alterations at the moment. That's where I'm at.
I think I personally would rather have one of the conditions make it clear that a CUP still needs to be gained by the following year for the permit to be eligible for the application. So that's just where I would feel comfortable to continue us moving forward and not drop the CUP, because it seems to be the more burdensome thing, and that gives us a year to actually change the ordinance or follow through on the ordinance, because this has been multiple years where we're not doing anything. And either we need to fix it or it needs to be done. So I would personally rather write it into the permit, but I understand that might not be what the rest of you want.
I
It's
don't,
understood that these things won't go forward next year without a CUP, is that right? Everybody understands that.
I mean, that's up to us,
Yeah.
because we're approving it without a CUP.
At this time next year, we would not be able to approve permits without a CUP.
Why not? Cause we're doing that now, and in the ordinance, that isn't stipulated that you can have a permit without a
is that
CUP.
The ordinance does call for a base of operation, or a CUP for your base of operation or business license in the city.
Right,
So what we're attempting to do is get the roadway permit issued while we're working on the conditional use permits. But I think it is very applicable that we would renew without the CUP in place for this coming year. So I think either way you go,
Yeah.
A condition is more explicit. But I would say that doesn't change anything within the work that we're doing. That's the manner in which we're moving forward anyway.
so are you saying that CPD would not bring forward a continuance of a permit if there was not a CUP? So many freaking letters to talk about what should be a sentence, but is that what you're saying, Ian? Okay, and Matt, is that, it feels like we're not following the ordinance right now, until we're getting these permits in place. So does that make sense that like we can do this now, but next year we won't do it based on the ordinance?
I mean, it seems like it's fairly new process.
Yeah.
There's some kinks that are being ironed out here and as we sit. And I think like Ann said, I think you could do it either way, and I think the outcome's gonna be the same regardless.
Okay.
I'm just reluctant to add anything without having some time to really have some thoughtful conversation with all parties involved. There's things we still need to work out, it's pretty clear. I'm hoping we can figure it out in a way that's mutually beneficial for everyone involved. So, yeah, that's it for me. Any further discussion? Okay. To a vote then?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thanks, Tim.
next we have discussion and consideration of a commercial recreation permit for Leadville ATV Tours for winter and summer operations. Led once again by Melissa Hendrick. Thank you, Melissa.
Alright, this is number 2, and a little different, Jason, is Jason on the phone or in the room? Right behind.
Sneaking up on me.
Good.
But this is Leadville ATV Tours.
Oh, that's right, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Leadville off-road.
Yeah, he's off-road.
Alright.
That'll be the
So
third
you've got
one.
team,
Yeah.
okay for that. And then we're sort of jumping. So we are. Alright, so, great. And I know King is online. He was.
It's not on the board.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
she's
they are.
waiting.
Okay, good. So, this application is also on the east side. It is winter and summer, operations. The previous one was just winter. And so they are requesting the use of County Roads 1, 2, 3, and 38, as well as Monroe Street in terms of parking. So I think you read about that in the staff report. So their operations are year-round, and they use the side-by-sides, which as you could read, and we have some pictures in this staff report, that I think the weight of these vehicles creates some challenges on the snow. And so there have been some concerns about the ruts that get created by these UTVs that they're using. And so that would be obviously the summer or the winter operation specifically. And so this is part of why we looked at a collective grooming option. You got to hear all about that in the previous application. And so we are asking them to also sign a cost agreement to participate in that grooming. And we don't have a signed agreement with them right now. There are some concerns specifically about last year's, the quality of last year's grooming. And we are also suggesting that this operator not do grooming on their own at this point. Michael Irwin can speak to that a little bit, because he's the one that really negotiates those cost agreements. But because of those concerns, what we would like to do is have a season where we implement this new program. We have one groomer primarily for most of the trail, and then see how that goes. So in terms of their application, this operator has been operating for the last 3 years, again, year-round. And I think one of the things that has been an improvement is the parking. I think there was some confusion about where to park some of these vehicles, particularly in the summertime. And so that was the purpose of Monroe Street, kind of the south side of Monroe. You've probably seen them, but that's where they actually stage, so that their customers are safe as they load and unload. So with that, they do have a hazard mitigation plan, a very extensive emergency management plan, which seems to have been pretty successful for them. And I'm trying to think what else would be helpful in this. I talked a little bit about what the impacts have been on the snow, which is mostly what we're trying to mitigate. And so with that, I think the conditions of approval for this application again are to maintain the permit, maintain their business license in good standing with the city. We're requesting that the cost agreement be signed, that they comply with their emergency management and their emergency management plan. And, should anything else, and this is true of all of them, come up with our emergency providers like Leadville Lake County Fire Rescue, throughout the year, if there are improvements that need to be made, that those would be complied with as well. And that with the renewal of the permit, we'll get a record of any incidents or events that might have happened on an emergency level throughout the year. So we'll start to be able to track them as well. So with that, I think I'd like to turn it over to Michael to speak a little bit about this operator.
Yeah, so basically with this operator, I have gotten several complaints about not leaving a good surface, specifically with, the side-by-sides with tracks on them, tearing up what was already groomed before, so that the snowmobiles don't have a good surface when they come back. Another thing is where they get used to store their machines not on their property but on Monroe. That's actually county property that was bought with the Union Pacific property there. So it is actually county property that they're using. And then they also on their map show a road that is not a county road, that is private road that goes across private property. And maybe just the way they go, but they've got it listed as a county road and it's not. And I don't know if they got permission to go there, so I don't know if they groomed that or who groomed that, so that might be a problem.
So that would be addressed in a CUP, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the CUP part is private property owners and where you're staging. And the permit is just for the roads, right?
It would be if you had a base of operations in the county. They have a base of operations in the city, so they are not subject to a CUP.
But they're subject to a CUP to use county property outside of whatever. You can't just use county property.
No, that's the roadway permit, a CUP are for road purposes. So you can't obtain a CUP in the mining district for outfitting and guiding. So it's prohibited, and so you can't, so we're only talking about roadways, which are not zone parcels.
Right.
So they're not subject to zoning, and that's why we use the road use permit for roads.
Right.
And the conditional use permit. But outfitting and guiding in the mining district on land parcels is prohibited.
Is the Monroe Street in the mining district?
Of them, they don't need a CUP, they're asking for an agreement from so the Monroe Street again, that parcel, the area that they're asking is like a foot into the right of way. So again, it's not a zoned area. And so we'd be asking for Monroe for permission through this roadway permit. As part of the roadway permit would be parking within that area as well, if the board finds that they would want to continue to allow that so that their users or their customers are not crossing the highway with equipment.
Got it. And then what Michael's referring to, going across private property, doesn't even matter in a CUP because it's not an allowed use anyway. Am I getting that?
Correct. So what Michael's highlighting is that they are recognizing their application as a county road, so we're not giving them permission for that road in their roadway permit, so we wouldn't include that in the permit because it's not a county road.
So what's the consequence to guiding and outfitting in the mining district?
So
on private property, without.
So I would say yes, that's what we're bringing up is that they don't have as far as and we'll let them speak as well. But what I think they've been assuming is a county road is not a county road.
Got it. So they just have to stop doing that little section. And then it'll be no problem.
Or have permission from the landowner for the road, for the area. But I see what you're saying. Is that if we can't establish this as a road, then it would be prohibited for outfitting and guiding through that land parcel.
Right. And we would suss that out in the CUP. No.
We wouldn't do a CUP, it's simply prohibited. So they either need to, so most likely they can't manage that strip of land that they've been thinking is a county road because it's not allowable.
I'm so sorry, Ann, I'm not I think I've got wires mixed. The road, if it is a road, a private road, can they get permission to use a private road?
I think that if it is, and I think there's a lot of gray here, whether it's a roadway or if it's not a roadway. So I think it's an easement through private property. I don't think it's a roadway. That would be, I think it's a informal trail. At best. So they wouldn't be able to operate on a land parcel in IM.
Got it. Thank you so much. I get that. I'm just trying to see where we're where
it is complicated.
Separating the two makes it also complicated. I appreciate that we're doing the permitting. I'm just trying to understand the process so that it's up to us if we wanna change that ordinance. And I wanna understand the ordinance really well so that I know what we're stepping into as we try to clean this up. This is not like I'm not trying to put anything on High Country Tours right now.
So the idea behind the ordinance is to separate the roadway and create a permitting to manage county roads, then also recognizing that already in the land development code, outfitting and guiding anywhere in the county on land parcels requires a CUP.
Right.
So it's kind of the marriage of the two.
Yeah. Really fun. This is really fun, everybody. I'm loving this. Also, I'm sorry, I know this is personal. We've got 3 permits up, but this is how I learn. It's by asking questions about these real life things. So I'm sorry if it's feeling personal or if you feel like I'm questioning your business or or what you have tried to do with the county to make this work. It's just the way I learn, so I hope you can compartmentalize that a little bit. Okay, thank you.
Speaking, for myself and maybe the board, we wanna do everything we can to get our commercial guiding partners up and running every year, cause it's an important part of this community, not just legacy and history, but recreation and, economic reasons and the amount of people you guys employ in this community, so, just know that we wanna help and we wanna get this stuff figured out as best as we can. Not everything's gonna be perfect and not everything's gonna be what everybody wants, but hopefully we can figure something out in the middle that checks enough boxes for everybody.
Yeah, and I will say the applicant is here and probably does wanna speak, unlike the previous application.
Okay. Sure, yeah, if now's a good time for that, then we'll let these guys have some words in.
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, so I guess we wanted to start with hearing complaints about our vehicles on the snow. Most certainly, if I had to put myself, and I am, in a community member's shoes, I would be upset too after we go by because everything makes a print in the snow when snow is used. Everyone's going to leave a mark that they were there. But hearing that our buggies are heavier and cause more impact, a snowcat is 10 times heavier than what our buggies are, but no one complains about their impact because they have tracks that are wider. And we're getting something called ground pressure, which my buggy that has 4 tracks on it has very similar ground pressure to a snowmobile. Will it sink a little further? Yes, undoubtedly. But when it's sinking, that is an indicator to the quality of the snowpack. No one's ever really said the grooming on the east side is awesome, unless it's the day the groomer went by and we all get out there. Awesome. That is a great time for the short window it lasts. The east side needs to be groomed a lot more than once or even twice a week to maintain the use up there to keep a good snowpack so everyone can enjoy it. A deteriorated trail really detracts from the quality of our tours. It hurts people's backs. The community members, we're going to be the eye to blame because we're up there a lot. But if this trail were in better condition, I don't think we'd have those complaints. And part of approving this permit, there's 3 options, and one of those options is to help groom. We've sent 7 emails to try and get some kind of approval to groom, and we've only been met with silence. To hear we're grooming private property, that should have came up a long time ago. How can no one even give us a hint until the day of our meeting? We've just been met with silence everywhere we ask to help the community. We don't want any money. We want to tow a drag behind our buggies. A drag does no harm. It touches about the top 2 inches of snow. It can't go down any further. And all a drag would do would be to fill in any ruts, whether they were created by us or other users. And we can tow a drag every single day, multiple times a day. And our last tour gets done at 5:30. So we'd be able to tow that drag right as that snow is getting ready to set up before nighttime comes, a really ideal time. And we're offering to do it every time, every day, multiple times a day. We can really help maintain the east side. In Alaska, at our other sister company, we hold permits from DNR. I help groom the road here, a giant trail for the community. I also groom straight up a mountain, and I do it in an ocean climate where the snow is exponentially harder to deal with than Leadville. And I do it with these buggies, towing a drag. I also have the same snowcat as the snowmobile club. And I don't even use it because the buggies do such a great job. And it's arguably just our company on these trails, and the trails are in great shape, just towing this drag, because if you maintain the snow, it stays in great shape, but it needs to be touched more than once, more than twice a week. We've never seen grooming twice a week, really. There's plans submitted. We haven't seen that. But also you'll see those pictures in our permit of those tracks in there. And, we're asking to pay to have snow that's maintained like that. It's it's a real detriment to us because when the snow isn't maintained, it causes a lot more damage on our tracks. It makes it harder for us to operate. It detracts from the experience of visiting Leadville, and it's just a lot bigger of a cost to us. And if we were simply allowed to tow a drag that's probably not even over 200 pounds, we could mitigate any impact we have on the trail while also making it better for the community. If you were out there cross country skiing and we passed you on the trail, you would immediately jump right onto our trail because we could put the drag at the end of our tour and leave a perfectly smooth surface for you. So there would be a positive impact for us going up there every day and grooming. It's just for some reason we're not allowed. And there is no good reason to help not pull a drag.
Okay.
There's lots of trails that are established by just pulling a drag. It's a great, in addition to having a tiller or a real snowcat, but also these buggies, they don't have operating conditions. They can get out there first. We can help pack the snow down and establish a great trail. And also towards the end of the season, when some of those pictures were probably taken, we can extend the operating season for all users by a few weeks because we're not as heavy, our grooming equipment doesn't go down as much, and we can keep compressing that snow.
So can I chime in for one moment? This is Ross.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for some additional input on this. Let me ask a couple questions first of the these guys. Is the drag similar in any way to like the Ginsu that the county has? That's something we pull behind a UTV.
Probably it's, a rectangle and it has a couple of blades that just smooth out the path. That's all it does. And it could have a packer on the back. They get, not that intricate. It's the same thing that's pretty much been used for years, proven effective.
Okay. That's basically what it is, Mike. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I looking at pictures that are in your permit, and hearing what you guys are saying, it sounds like we've got different points of view on this. So let's get all the different points of view on this out onto the table, and then we can discuss further. So why don't you go ahead next, Ross, and let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, thanks. So first off, I haven't seen the pictures that are in their permit, so I can't speak to anything there. I can definitely say that there hasn't been any communication with me, or I don't think with the snowmobiling club, directly from this outfitter, because I can definitely say that, like, if you said, "Hey, Ross, come out here, let's give this go through, let's ride the trail, like snowmobile it, let's talk about it." I can't tell you how many times I went out when the club was grooming the mineral belt, and so I would offer you the exact same courtesy on a weekend to come check it out and work together with you. I do think there's a time and a place for drags. They work very well for White Mountain Tours on their private land by Climax, but they only we actually allow our other partner. They also use a drag over at the lake where they run their operation. But without a doubt, like the way it works is it's only done at night, and you can't keep churning snow over and over and over. Like the snow science, like that we get from Prenout and Piston Bully, there's videos, and it's proven that a snowflake has all these points, like your finger, and every time you impact the snow from just rental usage, grooming, dragging, it turns into like a grapple, and it's a ball, and it turns into a slush puppy. And so it can only be turned a couple times a week, a couple times at the most, if we have new snow and the temperatures are cold enough. So I'm not saying no to allowing some kind of a drag behind something in the future, but we have to work that out, and that's something we can do in the future. So I just think there's only possibilities. I'm open to these, but I need to be given that chance to work with you on these, and I can support changes in the future, but we got to be on the same page. And that's what I wanted to contribute real quick.
Okay.
That would be great, Ross, but from our understanding, having this third option approved, we're to contact Road and Bridge. If you are working with Road and Bridge, we don't know that. We've really just been trying to find out anything, and again, we're just met with silence.
Okay. So I do want to add, so you can reach out to me, and if you prefer to work through Road and Bridge, I will work. We can all
No,
meet
it's
together.
not a
and that's-
preference.
So
It's what's in the permit we're applying for today.
It's in the county ordinance, according to the county ordinance, according to the law that's been passed by the previous BOCC, it says it's upon road and bridge approval. So we've been trying to reach Michael ever since before the ordinance was passed to understanding what the criteria needs to be. And after the ordinance was passed, understanding what do we need to do in order to contribute to grooming, I emailed Michael 5, 6, 7 times. I called him like a crazy girlfriend multiple times last year trying to understand what do we need to do to help. I'm sorry that we didn't reach out to you to ask for like permission to groom, because according to the law, it says we need to follow road and bridges approval.
Correct. So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying we circumvent or change, undo anything what the law is or how it's written, but I think Road and Bridge and the county are open. If we can get on the same page and we come together and say, hey, this is acceptable, this is great, I think they will accept anything that we partner up and do together to make things better in the county. And that's just what I want to do with you. I don't think you're forced to work through Road and Bridge to get to the snowmobiling club. So if, maybe we can, I say we just partner up in the future and see what we can do. And we go together and we propose something to Road and Bridge and say, hey, we got this great idea. Can you allow this to take place in the future? So, let's just get together this winter.
Mike, how does that sound?
I would love to, but also our hands are bound by not being allowed to groom. If we just need to come up with a plan so you can talk to Road and Bridge, but I'd really love to hear from Road and Bridge that this would be okay, because that's our hang up right now. We can't take step one. Our hands, everything is bound.
Because according to the ordinance, it also said outfitters are not allowed to maintain the trail without Road and Bridge approval. So that's why we're trying to reach out to Road and Bridge to see what the approval criteria looks like so we can help. But we don't want to not follow the rules, the ordinances from the previous BOCC, which specifically said we're not allowed to groom.
Right. I think that is correct. So like right now, yeah, you're not allowed, if my understanding, yes, you're not allowed to. It doesn't mean that you couldn't do something in the future if all three of us got together. But I think what they would prefer is you and I come up with something, get it in some kind of writing, figure it out. And then next year we do it, we get it approved and we demo it and we get their blessing and we go for it.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we're here doing this today, is because we haven't had anything set down as what is approvable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here talking today, to get these approved so that we can go forward and get people approved to do things besides the snowmobile club that's been doing it forever, or
right.
the other people that have been doing it for 20 years.
Right.
That we know how they work.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I do plan on going out and visiting all these trails this winter. I didn't get out there last winter, but I do plan to this winter, because we know how to afford a side-by-side that I can also take out there and check it out, or a snowmobile, so I will spend time out there this year.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate that
let's wrap up all the comment, because we're going in circles at this point. It sounds like moving forward, the next steps will be discussion between Leadville ATV and Ross to come up with an idea of where the collaboration works and where it doesn't. And then from there, we go to Road and Bridge and make sure Mike's okay with everything. And we've got a lot of people in the room. We've got a lot going on.
Yeah,
if
too
you
much
guys
going on, dude.
have like 30 more seconds of something you want to say at last, I see you waving your arms. So just go ahead and let's wrap this point up.
Okay, so before you guys make the decision, I do want to point out the photos in the application. So this was, I believe, from photos taken last year. If you guys are gonna move forward with it, that means we're gonna see the same condition as what's seen in the photo, because you guys are proposing, if you move forward, that means nothing would be changed. So what we're asking is let us groom, because we don't feel great about paying for the pictures of the conditions showing in the pictures. And I'm assume if it landed on Melissa's table with these complaints, then whoever made them complain, the community members are not happy with the conditions either. So I'm asking the county commissioners to consider making a change for what's showing on the picture, so it will be better for everyone in the community. Because if you move forward, yep.
Looking at those pictures, I can see that they're in the springtime, and I understand that presents a different set of challenges. A lot of things are going to leave tracks in the springtime, but I'm not a professional. I want to defer to the people who have a lot more experience in this than I do. So we're going back in circles again. That's why I want you guys and Ross to get together, and then we can come up with something that checks enough boxes for everybody involved. And like I said, It might not be perfect, it might not be exactly what you guys want, but we got to figure something out. If we can make any kind of improvement, I think that's going to be a win.
Oh yeah, and I think we could do it really fast, because we're not asking for much. Like, I would like to start it this season, because every season we operate under these conditions, it costs us so much more in breakage and a negative customer experience. Towing a drag that just touches the top of the snow, doesn't go down more than 2 inches, is a pretty simple ask. And I can meet with Ross and go over all of this. It's a very simple plan. I'd like to implement it immediately for this season to make it better, not only for us, but our community.
Great. Hash that out with Ross, get with Michael, and then we'll take it from there. Sound good to you guys?
I'd like to say, I agree with you guys. As a skier, I don't, Ross, with all due respect, those Ginsus don't churn the snow, they're just filling in the ruts. So, I mean, I have as much experience on snow as anybody on skis, and especially in the backcountry. And I don't see the problem with it, and I agree with the operators that it's a simple ask, and to go through another winter. Also, as a skier, it's super dangerous to get caught in those ruts, and it's almost impossible. These are public roads, so I really don't see the detriment in just letting them do it. And, they're not churning it, they're really just trying to fill in the tracks. And then if they don't go on the same tracks every single time, they alternate where their tracks go. I mean, it's gonna get a lot of use anyway, and a lot of it depends on conditions, moisture content, new snow and stuff. I guess I just don't understand the people not wanting them to do that. It's a simple thing, it happens every single time. It really helps flatten out the trails, so I would be for letting them put a Ginsu on their last vehicle and drag it through there. That's all I got to say.
If you have something you wanted to say, Ann.
Well, I just want to say that the way the cost and fees agreement is it's an equal share. So we have one operator that is doing some supplemental grooming and paying the $6,000.
Mhm.
And so I do think that we need to consider that we're still asking the operator to pay. So I don't think what they're asking to supplement with negates them also participating in the cost of.
I agree.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't think that
Just
was.
making sure that
yeah.
that's understood by the
Um,
applicant.
And I'm also eager to hear from anyone else in the room who has a lot of experience with the local trail and snow, so I saw, Tim, you put your hand up back there if you had something you wanted to chime in.
I've been using equipment like what he's talking about for a long time to groom my snowmobile trails. And as long as you pull the drag, but when it's less than 32 degrees out, it's cold out, and the drag's actually capable of making a perfectly smooth trail like he says, it's very advantageous. And I think it would help a lot if they did that.
Okay, but I guess, I do spend a bit of time up there, on my snowmobile and backcountry stuff on the east side in the winter, and I do see when it looks like it's overworked, and you start to see the dirt patches pile up, and then they're big muddy skid marks, and you can see when it's been done, when it's too warm, and it seems like it happens a lot in the spring, obviously, but.
Consistent grooming, letting that trail sit there bumped out overnight is a huge mistake.
Okay.
The only way you keep a truly smooth trail is by grooming a smooth trail when it doesn't look like it needs to be groomed.
Okay.
And then they get hard and they stay pretty smooth.
And that's like the oversized washboard stuff you're kind of talking about.
Yeah, that is a product of
rowdy.
not enough grooming.
Yeah.
If these guys were to pull a drag with their last tour and it was below freezing, and that's a key ingredient, you can't churn the snow when it's hot out.
Yeah.
It has to be below freezing. And that drag was able to smooth that trail out perfectly every night. You may not even need to have the snow club groom.
Okay.
Other than when the drifts get big and it just takes larger equipment than what, there's a very fine limit to where that lightweight equipment can't do anything anymore. And that's when there comes to drifting, leveling out big off-camber sections. But just the everyday lightweight maintenance of grooming a nice flat trail, running that drag every day is very advantageous.
Yeah, I don't think it's one or the other. I think they should still contribute to the cost sharing because that benefits, but I just don't understand the reluctance to let them do that. It seems real simple and real easy, and it would.
So the reluctance is if it's not done right. So just saying go run your drag all the time during the day, that's what they were proposing, is running a drag every time behind their last vehicle on their tour, is what he just said, during the day. There would be absolutely no snow. We would lose weeks of our season, and they're not going to run it and wreck their equipment beforehand. I don't even know what they're actually going to be pulling it with and what drag they're using and how wide it is. It's just like opening up exactly what had happened before. But if my only caution was let's figure it out, let's dial it in before we just say go for it. Because there is, like I've already said, a drag is great when it's done right. But I can tell you that I can see it successfully twice in this county, which is White Mountain Tours on their private property and at the lake when it's below freezing and it sets up and doesn't get touched. I can definitely tell you the problem with a drag is why we have to still groom at Turquoise Lake for White Mountain Tours is because their width of their drag is too small for the width of their grousers. And two, they leave huge embankments if you don't run a snowcat with a 12-way blade to level out those turns, because it just turns into a racetrack. The inside snow rots out in the spring. It gets off camber. And so running just the drag doesn't work. You have to have a blade. So that's why there's going to have to be two. But it just can't be the wild, wild west, because I guarantee you, everybody will be upset by the end of the season because it'll be the shortest season we've ever had in the mining district. So there has to be constraints. So we open it up. I would rather work with Mike and the county and see what it looks like. We go out a couple weeks, 3 weeks in a row at 6 o'clock, and we see it, and then we check it in the morning and see how it sets up on what it's really cutting and what it's really doing and what the weight is. But you know, if you want to open this up and just make it a free for all again, I mean, we can. But I do think there's a right time and place for it.
It's
No, I don't
not,
think we want to make a free fall or the Wild West, and I'm not familiar with what happened in the past, but it sounds like it's something we could work out.
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Mhm.
doing this currently and it's working beautifully. Like we don't even use our snowcat because it works so well. And I understand all the concerns Ross has, but it's a simple drag. I'm telling you, it doesn't really go deep, but if you do it enough at the end of the day, it really smooth snow just freezes into smooth snow. And we do have a little plow for the front, and I do knock snow drifts down with it. It's pretty crazy that I don't need my snowcat. I really thought I did, but I've been grooming in an ocean climate, which is harder, and it's working beautifully currently. I can tell you this works. There's no guessing. We wouldn't have to do this increased timeline. It's working right now.
I think
I don't know if it's working because people still have concerns, you know, and anyhow, this can just go on forever. But I'll just.
We're going back into circles again, and you know, we've got to all sit down and talk about this, and we can't go over all the details in a regular BOCC meeting. We need to figure out what our collective experiences are going to teach us, and it's not going to be just one person's point of view that's going to make everything happen. But I do think we can take something from everybody and come up with something that is mutually beneficial instead of, you know, argue during a regular BOCC meeting. And I'm not saying that we're here trying to argue. I just think that we're getting to a point now where we're starting to talk in circles, and that's not going to help anyone in this room.
Please, Andy, I just think we've got two things, and they both people are right. Ting and Jason are like, hey, this has not been great from the county. We haven't been able to figure out what it takes to groom. Super fair. That's true. We all agree on that. And then Ross is saying, like, but now we're hiring Ross, and we're like, hey, let's figure out what our conditions are. Ross is saying, yes, let's work together and figure this out as the county contractor, so that, like, we are trying to take our capacity, which we don't have, and expand it into our contractor, who is Ross. And through Ross, we will be able to figure out these criteria and come up with solutions quickly for the high country tours, high country off-road.
Leadville ATV.
Leadville Off-Road Adventures. Sorry, everybody.
That's those guys.
So sorry.
Leadville
ATV. Help me. No. Let me just get this out. Leadville ATV Tours. Leadville ATV Tours. That you all can work with our contractor to see, like, okay, is what you're doing gonna work? Okay, when can we do that? And then build it into the criteria. Like, I think that all the solutions have already been presented, and what I'm not hearing is, like, Ting, you guys knowing that this is going to work. Like, do you hear that Ross is saying, yes, let's work together and let me figure out how what you're using could be part of the plan? Are you hearing that? Because that's what I'm hearing.
Me too.
We are hearing that, but also, you know, we're looking at we're just afraid of the status quo happening, and you guys have the power to just say, yeah, let them try and contribute. And what I'll offer is, we'll still pay, but we want to be able to contribute. And if we make it worse, which I know we won't ask again, because I know it will only be better, and I have the faith in our grooming ability. So please, this is from both sides that it's going to work.
So yeah,
Right,
so we're
that's
saying
what we're
yes.
saying.
Yeah.
We are
Yep.
through. No. Hold up, Lord, y'all. Ross, we're not gonna say yes right now. Like, we are not grooming experts, and we've hired somebody to do this, and Michael is busy, and we've hired somebody to do this. So we're not gonna say yes right now. I'm not gonna say yes right now. I am asking that you all work with Ross this year and help us sort this out, because it's a mess. I hear it. but we need you to work with us to get it better. So I'm personally not gonna say, yes, go for it. I want this to be taken off of us and gone to Ross, and you all suss it out and come back to us next year and we'll see how it goes. And if for some reason it's a total junk show and you all aren't working together, then we can talk about it, but I personally feel like we have
you guys put a timeline of we need an answer, because we've been trying to ask this for years. And like I said, we're over hundreds of thousands of dollars in breakages because we haven't been allowed to help.
Okay.
We can get a solution fast.
We've already heard these specific points and we gotta stop talking in circles. So, Melissa, is an absolute ban on them grooming part of their
I think the solution, and it's similar to what I think Ann is suggesting, because we're kind of working this out right here.
Yeah.
Is we have a cost agreement with High Country Tours that allows them to do some additional grooming.
Okay.
Based upon Public Works agreement.
Okay.
Which does what we're saying, because we gotta tie all of these good ideas back to what Public Works is willing to accept.
Yes.
Right.
And so that agreement, if we made this simple change and we match those agreements, it would allow them to work with Michael to come up with a solution.
Allow them and Ross to get together, come up with some solid ideas. Okay, like, you know, your guys' last tour of the day gets a drag, as long as it's below a certain temperature, and they bring that to Mike and he's cool, and they can do that this year if
you want.
Okay, that's what I'd like to see happen.
If he doesn't like the ideas, then it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it goes both ways.
Yeah. Okay, so this year potentially you guys will be able to drag if it's something that's agreed upon by everyone else in the room, which is Ross and Michael, and then.
Yes.
Okay, does that sound like a step in the right direction at least?
It sounds like the best thing we've heard. Yes.
Okay.
I would like to.
I look forward to it. This is going to be good. I think you and I work together, and then when we get our ducks in a row, we'll loop in Mike, and then we'll see if we can't get you to do something this year. You know, I want to ease your mind. Like, we never even gave each other a shot yet. Let's do that. I think we're gonna.
I never knew I had to talk to you this much, Ross. We've just only met roadblocks every attempt.
It's okay.
So
this is wonderful
great.
progress. I love working with people and we're getting things
Let's make
happy.
some progress.
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
Let's work together. I'd really like to see you guys be able to use that dragger personally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think we can implement it. Thanks for your time, guys.
Okay, and what we just described is in the current version of what we are looking at approving right now?
Well, I think there's a
Or do we
slight
need to add the condition?
Yeah, because our condition says, signed cost agreement is required prior to issuance. Yeah, so I think the condition works as it's written, though, based upon this discussion. So what I would do is modify it to match High Country Tours, which allows them to do some additional grooming if Michael agrees. So.
Okay, I don't wanna mess this up, so I need to figure out exactly how we need to get this motion.
Yeah, just a second. I'm looking for their.
It would be in the High Country Tours.
Leadville
The
ATV
ATV Tours approval criteria?
Leadville ATV Tours.
Well, yeah.
It's Leadville ATV Tours, but you're using the
But we're using
criteria
the
from.
criteria.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry, I'm overcorrecting.
Because that's not confusing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's not even 11 in the morning.
Which we have a hard
Yeah, we
stop
got
on
this,
too,
we're gonna figure this out, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Why do we have a hard stop?
Yeah, condition is written. I thought that Tim Ramirez had something written slightly different, but it's the same.
It's the same?
It's the same.
Okay,
Alright, just a
and
second.
if something comes out at us that isn't right, we can amend this or alter it moving forward. I don't wanna say we're gonna do one thing and not be able to do it, is really what.
You can amend the condition of it to say, based on the conversation at the hearing.
Oh, there you go, I love that.
In that second condition for the cost agreement.
Okay.
So you're just approving it as is.
This is
We're approving it as is. No, where am I
What
writing?
we just
with the
said, you
condition.
could add in, on the cost agreement as discussed within the hearing, or within the meeting.
Nope, you're gonna have to say it.
I think I
I
got it.
know, you have it, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'll make
Too
a
much.
motion to approve commercial recreation permit for Leadville ATV Tours pending signing of the cost sharing agreement and also discussions with Ross and the Snowmobile Riders Club and Lake County Road and Bridge to supplement the grooming on an agreed upon process.
Yeah? Alright. You rock.
Seconded.
To a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Whew. Okay.
Thank you, Ross.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys. Sorry this seems so,
Just one quick point, order, did you, when you made the motion, did you include all of the other conditions,
Are the,
that were within there?
the conditions are in the permit. Do we have to state the conditions?
We just need to approve
The conditions are listed as 3 separate conditions under the permit.
should we
There are
redo that,
6
Matt?
There are 6 conditions of approval.
Make a new motion?
A new-
I mean, if you want to, you could do it real quick, yeah, I mean, some of these conditions, I mean, they gotta maintain a business license, that's probably not necessary, but, yeah, I mean, it's probably cleaner if you just redo it and make sure you get all the
Okay.
recommended conditions.
Including the first part too?
Yeah, dude.
I would just, make a motion to approve, subject to the conditions
Yes.
as in the staff
That's
report and this additional one that
Yeah.
was discussed in the,
Okay,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the recreation, or commercial recreation permit for Leadville ATV Tours with adherence to all the conditions in the permit application
staff report.
in the staff report, including signing of the cost sharing agreement with Leadville Snow Riders Club and agreements with Lake County and the Snowmobile Club for supplemental grooming assistance.
Seconded.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No, please.
To a vote.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye. Alright,
Does that pass muster? No? Thank you.
okay.
thank you.
Might be a little overboard, but we wanna make sure we're not missing anything.
This is horrendous.
It is, it's never been easy. It's never been easy in this county and, we're dealing with that now, so we're trying to make it better at least, if it's still not easy.
We gotta make this better.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Repetition.
great.
Alright,
What is this?
thank you
crap?
guys.
Thank you.
For
Thank
the
you.
input and the collaboration.
Thank you.
This is not the end of it, so,
Next one.
moving on.
You know, we're well practiced now.
We're only improving, but let's keep going, cause we got a long way to go
Okay, we have
with improvement.
we have 14 minutes. Apparently our next
Okay,
meeting.
discussion and consideration of a commercial recreation permit for Leadville off-road adventures for winter and summer operations led by Melissa Kendrick. Go
Yes.
ahead, thank you.
All right, so this application, as you stated, is for winter and summer. So the summer operations, they're wanting to use County Roads 1, 2, 3, and 38. And the winter operations are around Turquoise Lake, which are County Roads 4 and 9. So, we have talked a lot about commercial rec permits. So, and Jason is here, the operator of this. He has been in operation for about 9 years. I've heard in the discussion this morning, about the quality of grooming around Turquoise and in that area, which has been pretty high. So we are entering in the cost agreement that we've talked about previously doesn't apply to this application. He does his grooming, it's been, more than adequate, and so we're just leaving that practice in place. What is different this year for this operator is that we're asking him to move his operations from the dam where he's parked his trailer to offload the equipment and some customers, 3 or 4 cars there have been parked, and so we got a complaint from the US Forest Service and, I don't know if it's a complaint, but from the public, that we would like them to move from that location. So what we're establishing is potentially a facilities agreement for the Mount Massive Golf Course parking lot. Jason is in agreement with that. It's our first time to use the facilities agreement in this scenario. Parks and Rec has drafted one. Jason hasn't seen it currently, but he's in agreement that if he wants to use that parking lot instead, that we will be able to accommodate that. So I know Jason probably would like to speak a little bit about the future of his operations, but that's kind of where we are right now. So with that, we do have conditions of approval. So probably based on this last motion that was made, if you do want to approve, any approval would include the 5 conditions. They're very similar to the last one, only there isn't the cost agreement and there is the facilities use agreement.
Okay, so this would be approval pending, an agreement for using the Mount Massive Golf Course parking area to stage out of. Jason, what comments do you have to add to this?
So I think in the meantime, what we've just planned, and we talked about it just to kind of avoid the whole thing. I get it, alright, we take up some room down there. We're working on some other things with the special use for the property for Sugarloaf Mountain Ranch. I think it'll alleviate a lot of that issue, but in the meantime, what I've kind of conveyed is, we're just gonna run a shuttle. And we'll run it right from our office, they can get dressed, get in it, take them down to the lake, drop them off for their tour. Everybody goes across the dam and back behind our gate after tours. Anyways, in the evenings, I think the only thing it kind of cuts out for us is the nice warm trailer for the snowmobiles in the morning, but it is what it is. We're willing to, bend to let's get this stuff done. And further on down the road, we're adding some facilities that it's gonna be a completely different thing where we don't take up any parking or any use
Okay,
at all.
cool.
So
Yeah,
that's
Well, this'll
kind of the
get you-
direction we're moving in.
I do have a question for you, could you move the trailer over on that side of the lake for the winter time and leave it there?
Well, we're not planning on using the trailer this year, but if we had a spot we could park it, of course, it's always helpful to have it. But what it does is it creates a whole extra step in the process. I mean, in general, and we got a little lax last year, so I can understand. Generally, we bring it down, and that thing, it's in the morning, after you guys have plowed, it's gone in the evening. Boys got a little lax with that last year, I should have been on them better for that. That thing should be gone every night.
Yeah, no, I've had complaints, because there is a house across the lake that we don't allow him access to get there except for on a snowmobile. He's gotta have a place to park his vehicles at the dam.
Yeah, we're
So he can get
good
out,
buddies.
park his snowmobile and get in the car. But that was his choice when that house was built, that was his agreement with the county, is that he would have to go over the snow for the winter time.
And I specifically, we're good buddies because of the ranch right up above everyone. I actually go groom for him so that he can get his snowmobile constricted or anything like that. I groom to his gate, open it up for him. If it was parked across the road, I don't see how that really changes things. If we did park the trailer across the road, it'd probably be behind our gate. I mean, yeah, of course, it would be great to open that parking lot up on the other side. But that also optimally, that would be amazing, right? We groom from there around to the other side. Perfect, in a perfect world. And then our gate's right there. That makes things so much easier for us. But also, I don't wanna take away from the experience of people walking across that dam, right? Driving right up with their vehicles, skiing across it. It's a special thing, especially in the evenings. I mean, even White Mountain, we all stop there for sunsets.
Yeah.
I think this way, awesome, if it could happen. I think later, I think we would like to be below the dam, to where we have a right of way. We have a couple different options down there, which we'll discuss, I guess, for the CUP or the special use. But I think in the meantime, for us to just shuttle.
Okay, so no Mount Massive.
I mean, we'll obviously take it,
Okay,
right, if we need it,
okay,
right?
Do you wanna leave it open as an option?
Leave it open as an option,
Okay.
absolutely.
Alright, this will get you guys across, you know, where you need to be to operate for this year.
Yes,
Cool.
and I think in the meantime, like, I mean, yeah, of course we'd like to be able to plow right to our gate and have 2 parking lots right there. Be great. I mean, if it could be done, let's get it done.
Got
You
it.
know, but it does take out a really beautiful spot that I think is special.
Yeah.
And that's always kind of been my thing with all of this is keep it special, keep it small.
thanks, Jason.
Thanks.
So can I, just ask a quick question? When it comes to our approval, should we make it pending an agreement with Mount Massive, or I'm hearing no? That like,
What it says is, that they will assign facilities use agreements required.
oh, I see,
and
prior to commercial operations
That would
there.
allow you the option of using that, is that a problem for you?
No, I mean, as long as I have the option there,
Okay.
I
And it
think
can
we,
be done, I clarified, it can be done by day if he needs it to, and then sign up for the whole season.
Okay,
So,
great,
yeah.
okay. I move that the Board of County Commissioners conditionally approve file number 2539, Leadville. Am I in the?
Off-road adventures.
Off-road- okay, good. Professional, I have it in front of me.
Okay.
Leadville Off-Road Adventures. Commercial recreation permit pursuant to the standard and approval criteria of ordinance 24-01. Multi-purpose use on county roads have been met with as evidenced in the staff report dated December 4th, 2025 for file number 2539 and is conditioned herein.
In the 5 conditions.
In the 5 conditions listed in the staff report.
I'll second the motion.
No further discussion?
None.
Do a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alright,
I had to run through everybody else's. I was ready for that one.
I thought this stuff would be so complicated.
Do you wanna move to approve the
Mm,
consent agenda?
moving on.
I will move to approve the consent agenda for December 4th, 2025.
Seconded.
Do a vote.
Aye.
Aye. All packet materials for agenda items are available upon request. To subscribe to email or text notifications, please visit lakecounty.gov/list.aspx. With that, we will conclude this regular meeting of the Lake County Board of County Commissioners. Thank you, staff. Thank you,
Staff.
public, everyone, for your patience, understanding, and helping us evolve this process.
Now we just need some snow.
Yeah, bring it on.